I think it's a process where you can start to feel the kata as being less of a manual process and more of just a pattern that you're enjoying, and then you're learning as you go along. And then if you can start to visualize as you go along, then the kata can come alive for you as well.
Hey guys, and welcome to Karate Over Coffee,
a podcast where we chat about everything and anything related to karate and Kobudo. I'm Recce Cummings, and I'm here with my friend and colleague, Cheyne McMahon. Obviously, at the moment, we can't get to Okinawa, or those of us that have teachers in Okinawa, we can't get those people over. But you've said that obviously travel is this pent-up thing, and I know it is because I'm looking at booking a domestic holiday, and everyone who would normally go overseas at the moment is traveling domestically in Australia. But that sort of links in well, I guess, to the idea of tourism. Tourism has been increasing quite significantly in Okinawa, or karate tourism. And there's obviously been a high push with the Olympics that was pushing that form of karate and the publicity that was gathering, and then Okinawa perhaps then looking to go, well, how do we also promote our own agenda? So how have you seen, I guess, Okinawan karate tourism change over the 10 years that you've been there? How do you see it positively or negatively impacting the community there and more broadly?
Yeah, I mean, over the, like you say, the sort of 10 years or so that I've been here, I've seen a lot of positive development in karate tourism. I mean, karate tourism as a phrase, upsets a lot of people, makes them feel a bit uncomfortable. But the idea that karate should be, particularly karate in Okinawa, should become a bit more accessible and a bit more open and easy to find is a good one, I think. We all respect and appreciate teachers and dojos who want to stick to their tradition, maybe want to keep things very quiet and hidden away. But the truth is, if we don't teach the next generation about karate and Kobudo, then very often it dies away. And that has been the case for many schools and styles in Okinawa. It's almost a natural thing in a way, perhaps a teacher doesn't have someone to follow them and continue their study. But it seems a shame that to make it difficult for people to find karate practice and Kobudo practice when they come to Okinawa. So fortunately, over the past 10 years, it's become a lot easier. The Dojo Bar was an important place in that process, but also the Okinawa prefecture itself has opened significant new facilities such as the Karate Kaikan. They have put teams in place which you can contact, such as the OKIC, who are there specifically to help you find training resources and other resources when you come to Okinawa. And of course, there are much more bigger, more public events that happen. Probably the most significant being the biggest one was the 4,000-man karate demonstration all down Kokusai-dori International Street in the middle of Naha on Karate Day, October the 25th. And the other things that's happened has been a lot more international seminars. So Okinawan teachers have been sent in teams to go and do seminars in overseas countries, almost as ambassadors for Okinawan traditional martial arts. So I think there's been a lot of great progress. And I think it's measured in the awareness that people generally have about the connection between karate and Okinawa, for example. That's kind of step one. And I think that awareness has got a lot better. But other things help along the way as well. I mean, we can always give thanks to the Karate Kid movies and even Cobra Kai for giving people kind of an interest into karate and an idea that maybe it's connected to Okinawa. I mean, again, you might look at these things and wince a bit, but it all does help to raise people's awareness about Okinawa. I still think there are a lot of people in the world who've never heard of Okinawa. They don't even know where it is, right?
For sure.
I think that's Yeah, that's quite interesting. Last week we spoke about some of the things that got adults back into karate as well, and Cobra Kai was one of those. And we've had people list on the "Where did you hear about us?" or "Why are you starting?" saying, you know, Cobra Kai, or they're enrolling their child because they don't want to do it. Well, you know, they don't have time to do it or whatever it might be, but they want to live that passion through their children. And so it's interesting. I think all these things do contribute towards a knowledge, and even if it's nothing other than people actually learning what is Okinawa and where it is, and B, that's actually where karate came from. And I think there were a lot of people that perhaps let's say 10 years ago that were still less aware of that, and then over the last 10 years so many things have happened. My first time to go to Okinawa was in the late 2000s, and I've been every year except for the last year and this year, and seeing the difference between walking down the main street and perhaps how many people were there versus how many people are there now. Or if you go out and look at a karate monument or something like that, there will be someone else there looking at the karate monument as well. And I think that's nice because it brings together this group of people where we share a passion and interest in something.
Yeah, I jumped on the monorail one time after class, and the only people who were sitting there were all wearing white karate pants. And we all looked at each other and like, are you going to Dojo Bar? Yeah, see you there. What do you think the negative impacts have had on the Okinawans opening up their borders a little bit more for foreigners?
Okay, so Okinawa over the past 10 years has gone through a boom in tourism generally. So, you know, there's been various deregulation that's allowed the people to travel more directly into Okinawa. And just the general numbers of tourism have actually skyrocketed. So, of course, going with that has been a lot of development, you know, lots of new hotels being built, new roads being built, new facilities being built. And of course, that always puts pressure on the existing infrastructure, community, environmental concerns, etc., etc. So that's not, you know, and so people coming to Okinawa with an interest in karate are sort of part of that, but honestly, a small part of that still. So I would say that if there are any negatives, it's not so much to do with karate specifically, it's maybe that the island itself is just dealing with a lot more visitors these days, and things change. And I guess for those people who, you know, were coming to Okinawa or first came to Okinawa several decades ago, the place does look probably very different. I mean, even to me, just one decade on, it looks very different. But you know, that's what happens. You know, that's how it goes, and I think we just adapt to it. From a karate perspective, I really don't have any negatives. I don't care. I don't mind if you can now find, you know, karate themed chocolate or you know, karate themed socks, whatever. I mean, to me, that's not a bad thing. It doesn't impact the core karate community's values of teaching authentic karate and everything that goes with it. I just see it from a marketing perspective. We kind of talk about it as a funnel, right? The more that comes into the top of the funnel, the more eventually it gets filtered out and comes out through the base, right? You need to keep feeding in more and more so that you eventually get the quality stuff that comes out of the base. And from a karate perspective, that means that the more people whose attention you can catch, the more likely that you're going to retain more people who really have a true passion for, and hopefully a lifelong interest in traditional martial arts practice, because that's the core of karate, right? Those people that love it and want to do it, and then naturally will pass it on and teach it to other people too, and spread the values that go with it. So, so I think it's all good.
Just as long as Blue Seal ice cream stays the same, we're all sweet.
Yeah.
Well, the limited edition Blue Seal ice cream has been the same since I first visited to what it is now. So I think it's going to stay the same. Yeah. So how do you see James, like your 100 Kata event or similar events like that playing a part into bringing the community together, and how can that, I guess, help people expand their network or learn new things or connect with people?
Yeah, so the 100 Kata events were conceived as a way of sharing the celebration of Karate Day with people who are outside of Okinawa. The Karate Day celebration, celebrating essentially the establishment of karate as a name for Okinawan martial arts. That's become a very significant celebration in Okinawa, but it was not really being extended outside of the island. And I was contacted by quite a lot of people who were kind of wanted to know more about the Karate Day and to get involved. So that was the idea around 100 Kata, was that it was a way that people could kind of all get together, enjoy the same challenge and feel connected, particularly on that day of Karate Day. And the 100 Kata event has become a way that a way also for dojos, I think, to invite other people, to get new people to come in and join in the event. It's a great way to show what you do. You know, usually the 100 Kata events are done in the park or in some public location. Usually outdoors is really nice if the weather permits. And so, yeah, it's a simple event. It's not a money-making event. You don't have to pay to take part. The idea is just to maximize participation. And I'm hoping that we can continue to do it, and it sort of continues to go alongside the Karate Day activities that happen here in Okinawa. In fact, of course, last year, because of COVID, there was no Karate Day events here in Okinawa. However, we were still able, to some extent, to do the 100 Kata events around the world. People could participate online. So in that way, it will sort of become a sort of a substitute. So that was nice too.
Yeah, I think both Recce and I did the 100 Kata last year. But I remember doing it. I made the mistake one year with James choosing one kata. And I did Kosokundai. And I was about 50 in and people are finished. I'm like, oh no. So then I just finished with my Funchi.
Well, that's good. It's good that you aimed high, right?
Yeah. I didn't realize, one, how long it took, and two, just physically demanding it was.
Yeah. Our kids quite like the event, actually. They look forward to it each year, and we sort of blur the guidelines a little bit with the idea that we want to do 100, but we work towards doing 100 collectively across the kids, because I think when we do it with the adults, it ends up taking us 2 hours or something like that, and keeping the kids' attention for 2 hours is an extensive period of time. But it is a workout, and if nothing else, by the end of it, at least you've got people knowing kata pretty well.
Well, yeah, it says it's 100 kata, not 100 good kata.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing as well. I mean, I wrote a little kind of essay, a short article on the experience of doing 100 kata in continuous succession. Just personally, what I took from it, which is that not everyone is going to be perfectly executed or look like it would look if you were doing it for competition, for example. Your body's going to go through various phases of fatigue, but also various phases of sort of tension and relaxation as well. Like you're fairly tense when you do the first 10 or 20 because you want to get them right, and you want to sort of stay in time with everybody else if you're doing it, in a group with other people, etc., etc. But by the time you get into sort of the 30s and the 40s, you're starting to actually relax a little bit, and you go through these phases of not thinking so much about what the next move is, because you've done it so many times. The body starts to go into more of an automatic mode, and then you find that actually it flows more. You tend up being faster. Maybe you get a feel for the kata as more of a connected thing as opposed to a series of techniques that you have to remember, then do, and then go on to the next one, right? Also, I think I think it's a process where you can start to feel the kata as being less of a manual process and more of just a pattern that you're enjoying, and then you're learning as you go along. And then if you can start to visualize as you go along, then the kata can come alive for you as well. So one of the things that is nice to encourage is, of course, you want to get 100 repetitions out, but also points to either to pause or maybe after the 100 to take a look at the, some of the applications for the kata as well. Of course, it depends on physical state that everybody's in, but
that's probably a better a better chance or a better way to practice to do those applications. Not when you're fit and healthy and ready to go, and hold on, I haven't warmed up yet.
Exactly. You guys have probably come across Higa Minoru Sensei, head of the Kyudokan in Okinawa, and Higa Sensei's famous because training, almost every training that he does. I'm sure I'm not a regular member of his dojo, but I've been to one or two of his trainings. Every single time you'll stand there on the floor and do 2,000 punches. Basically I think there's a lot in it, but certainly one of it is just try to fatigue you so that you don't have any strength left to push out these techniques, and it just comes down to pure technique. And also you've got time to really think about what you're doing as well, right? It takes a long time to do that. I think it's very much the same principle.
Yeah.
So a lot of your work, James, is obviously about bringing people together. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say the Asado Dojo probably has a similar aim.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How have you found, obviously being a foreigner that lives in Okinawa with a high density worth of dojo in such a small place? How have you found, I guess, establishing that dojo? What, for any other, obviously, dojo owner, there's always barriers with starting a dojo. You may have different ones or similar ones. What have you found along that way?
On the face of it, it would seem to be very ambitious to open another dojo in Okinawa where there are already 200 dojos, within the municipal area. So the Asado Dojo kind of has some unique, let's say, aspects to it. Of course, as a foreigner and as an English speaker, then there's an appeal to local people who want to come and do some training and also potentially, do so speaking English as well. So for our kids classes, for example, and like any other dojo, we have a lot more kids than we do adult students. So our kids classes are very popular, and most of the credit for that goes to Becca, who's my assistant here and who runs the kids classes, and she does a fantastic job. But yeah, we have a very popular kids classes, and that helps us to keep the dojo running. But also, it's very gives us great energy as well, to see the kids come in. These are all local kids, by the way. They're all Okinawan kids, and they come in. And probably an equal split between boys and girls. And they come in and they have a really physical, high energy karate class, and they practice their English, and it's all good. That's a really, really good result.
I bet there's a lot of people going, blasphemy, you're teaching karate in English. How dare you not use the local native language we all count in Japanese and all of that kind of thing sitting at home in our dojos. But I think that cultural exchange is part of why we find things interesting. We like karate because it's a foreign culture, and then perhaps they're liking it because there's a foreign culture element too.
Indeed. The thing to understand, what people outside of Okinawa probably don't understand, is that your average Okinawan doesn't know anything about karate. Many Okinawans don't even know that karate originated in Okinawa. For them, for most of them as well, karate is as almost exotic and special as for somebody outside of Okinawa. So getting them to choose, particularly to do Okinawa alongside all the other sporting and exercise choices they have, first, that's a win. That's still a win in Okinawa, right? Because Okinawa, karate is not as popular as baseball or soccer or volleyball, right? So getting the kids in is an important thing. Again, it goes back to sort of the idea that the more that you get in, the more might stick with it as a lifetime practice. That's particularly important in Okinawa. But then the English is a good bonus to them too, because we need them to become good communicators. We need them to become confident and actually have the tools to be able to communicate with a broad range of people. Again, whether they choose to pursue karate as what they do, or whether they do something else, if we've enabled them to have the confidence and the communication skills to do whatever they're going to do, then I think that's a big win. I mean, we've done something good there. And then the Sato Dojo only has a small adult membership, and right now it's just local people. But some of the same dynamics apply. These are local people who probably wouldn't have done karate otherwise, but they're intrigued by the mix of things that we have in the dojo. Of course, at the moment things are a bit restricted, but when international travel is possible, then we would have a frequent set of guests coming in. And what I try to do is not to sort of monopolize them, but to try to enable them to then go and discover other dojos, other teaching, and the wider set of information in Okinawa. So giving them, say, a basis for then going, and some vocabulary, some understanding about etiquette and things like that would enable them to go and meet Okinawan teachers and train with them too. So that's kind of the Sato Dojo's role. We're not trying to build a Sato Dojo kind of organization. We're much more of a sort of a bridge for connecting people to the karate culture in Okinawa.
Awesome. And I remember when you were building that Asato Dojo across from the Dojo Bar, and which leads me into saying a question that I'm sure you've been asked 1,000 times, mate. What Dojo Bar 2?
Yeah.
Is it on?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm kind of enjoying a little bit of a rest from the Dojo Bar. I know that some people might hear that and go, "Oh no," but it's not having the nighttime business every night has been a nice change of pace. Having said that, though, the Dojo Bar, of course, is still hugely popular, and people are looking forward to coming back to the new Dojo Bar. It is on the cards. I'm not rushing to do it because we're still probably months and months away from people actually being able to come here. However, it is on the cards, and so when the time is right, we'll be looking at that. It won't be in exactly the same location, but it will be somewhere nearby and easy to get to for sure.
I bet your liver is thankful for the pause.
yeah, totally. I'm not a professional in that regard when it comes to that anymore. Like one couple of beers now, and I'm out for the count.
Yeah. And what happened to all the memorabilia from the Dojo Bar?
Some of it has been stored away to go into the next one. Some of it I gave away. Some of it we auctioned off. That actually helped a lot in the first few months of COVID, when we had no idea.
I bought some.
No idea where revenue was going to come from, or it was last year. Until we got into this sort of new pattern of learning how to do things online and other things like that, then we had a lot of months of worry, along as everybody else did. So yeah, some of it we auctioned off, and that went off to new homes too, including yourself, Cheyne.
Yep.
And
you still got some.
So that's
some of my alcohol there.
Oh yeah, I got it tucked away. It's all good.
Sure it is.
It's getting better with age.
Yeah. That's good.
So, James, if someone was looking to come back to Okinawa when everything opens back up, or they're trying to reinvigorate their karate practice or that kind of thing, or even maybe they're looking to move to Okinawa, what would be a couple of things to think about or tips that you might give them?
Okay, so for people who are looking to visit Okinawa, I would say looking practically at the situation, I think that that's going to be possible from 2022. I would say start researching now. Start looking into what you want to do in Okinawa. Now there are more online resources than ever before to kind of research what you want to do in Okinawa, both in terms of training, but also other things to go and see while you're here. The OKIC is a good starting point if you want to organize specific training going into different dojos, or you can talk to individuals such as myself who are located here in Okinawa, and we can give advice and sometimes introductions too. For people that are more ambitious and want to move to Okinawa, that's kind of another level of challenge. It's not that easy to relocate entirely to Japan. But it is possible to come here for extended periods and try out studying and living here. So for example, you can, when you get here, and if you build a relationship with a local instructor, it's possible to apply for a visa, which will allow you to stay for a year to study karate. There are various conditions that go alongside with that, but many people have done it. I've done it in the past, and I've helped other people to do it too. So if you're really, you have to really want to come here. It's not that easy to do, but it's possible. So if you have the dream, then I would say, yeah, pursue it and go for it. You know, Okinawa is just one of the best places to come and live and train. So I would say,
I totally agree.
And it's a pretty good place culturally as well. Just the people are nice, the weather is nice. We're experiencing some flooding here in Australia at the moment.
Yeah,
I know Okinawa's no sort of flooding or weather events are not necessarily new to Okinawa, but with if you're thinking about the cultural side of things, because we can often. I've done it before. I go on a trip, I go to the dojo, I train at the dojo, and I don't get, too many other places, perhaps dojo and dojo bar, and then that could have been about it. But culture is an important part. So would you have both of karate and not just the karate culture, but the Okinawan culture? What would be, let's say, 3 things that you would either want to visit or see, do you think, when you were there?
Okay, so I think that you should do a tour of karate history. Find a local guide, and that could be again from the OKIC. I'm happy to do that too. Even some prominent Okinawan teachers such as Hokama Sensei are happy to do this, where they'll take people around a tour of Okinawan karate history sites. That's always a great thing to do. You'll learn a lot along the way, and not just about karate as well. It's a great thing day out to do. I would also recommend that you take some time to explore Naha City. Going around the markets here, going around the areas in the city. And if you can, I would say, if you can get outside of the city, if you can hire a car, for example, or you use the local bus service, go off and explore some of the other areas of the island. There's lots and lots of information online now. You can find ready-made sort of tour routes or guides. But yeah, get out of Naha City and go exploring around the island. You can even hop on a ferry and go off to some of the other smaller islands for the day or a couple of days and come back. And again, I'd recommend that. It will make your visit that much richer. If you are specifically interested in some cultural activities such as music or dance or pottery or something like that, then again, you can do that fairly easily here as well. So again, do a little research online. You can find links to that and go and experience those aspects of culture too.
And what about how far away is the Orion Brewery?
It's in the north part of the island, so it's a nice thing to do if you're going to go and go out for the day. Zoom up to the north part of the island, which is about an hour's drive away, and then you can go and see, yes, the Orient Brewery, the aquarium, Nakajin Castle, the Sakura Park, which has the memorial to Recce Sensei in it. You can go to some beautiful beaches up there. There's lots and lots to do up there. So yeah, that's a good day.
Awesome. Well, look, I think that wraps it up nice and neatly there, James. So we'll put in the links, put your Bujin TV links in the comments as well. But where can we find you, mate?
Find us on Facebook. I'm on there, our personal profile. The Sato Dojo is on there too. And of course, Bujin TV too. You can email me, james@challengeokinawa.com. Challengeokinawa.com is the site where we also list information about karate tours, also 100 kata karate day events, that sort of thing too. So yeah, challengeokinawa.com, Bujin TV, and yeah, just find me on Facebook.
If you can spell his surname. and also
yeah, we try James Okinawa. You might get this up there.
Yeah. And we forgot to ask, mate, what coffee were you drinking? This is Karate Over Coffee.
Oh, this is the Mocha blend from A Price. So yeah, that's another little tip. If you're gonna come to Okinawa and maybe gonna stay for a while, you can go to A Price, which is a really nice little supermarket which has some nice imported stuff, including good mocha coffee. And I'm drinking it here from my locally made, handmade mug as well.
Very nice. And Reese, what do you have? What have you got today, mate?
I went back to my regular cappuccino.
Oh, no chai latte?
No.
Yeah, I'm just a long black again. Boring. But I might mix it up next time.
Yeah, keep you awake.
Yeah. Thanks very much for joining us, James.
Oh no, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. It's been great to catch up with you guys. I hope we can do it again soon. It's good to see you.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening, guys. And if you'd like more information, check us out at karateovercoffee.com.
Or have a look at wherever you listen to your podcast, whether it be on Spotify, iTunes, on the website, or online. And I look forward to grabbing a coffee with you next time.